everyone. Thank you for joining me today for Mo Better Blues, a 1990 American musical comedy drama film featuring Denzel Washington, Wesley Snipes, and also Spike Lee, who directed the movie as well. It follows a period in the life of fictional jazz trumpeter Bleak Gilliam. The film focuses on themes of friendship, loyalty, honesty, cause and effect, and ultimately salvation. It features the music of the Branford Marsalis Quartet and Terence Blanchard on trumpet.
We just want to know if Bleak can come out.
I understand that, but this noise has got to stop.
We're going. I said I'll see you later.
Now we get to see the adult Bleak Gilliam and his manager, who is Spike Lee, his friend Giant. Shadow Henderson and Bleak Gilliam often scuffle over basically the fact that Shadow likes to play long solos, grandstanding for himself. The next morning, Bleak wakes up with his girlfriend Indigo, played by Spike Lee's actual sister. We just saw Robin Harris, who passed away 5 months after this film came out. We also get to meet Denzel's dad, who's played by Pretty Tony from the Mac. They go out and play baseball, and then Bleak gets right back to practicing. During his practice, he's visited by a second woman, Clarke. Basically, he likes women, but he's just not ready for a commitment with either of them. She ends up biting his lip, and we witness that he's obsessed over his lips, actually, claiming that that's how he makes his living, which is true. The next morning, we learn of Giant's severe gambling problem. He's placing bets with his bookie over baseball games. That night, they get to the club Beneath the Underdog, the club where Bleak Gilliam and his band play every night. The band has a few discipline issues, like Lefty, who always arrives late and brings his girlfriend into the dressing room. Bleak lets him know that he's the boss.
You brought your lady into the dressing room. Don't do that anymore, okay? You know what the rules are. Everybody knows what the rules are.
The manager, Giant, has no success renegotiating the contract.
Slice of pie, the apple of my eye, my chicken thigh, extra spicy.
You count? Cause you owe me.
You know I'm good for it.
You're way over as it is.
Even Giant's bookie is concerned that he's going too far into debt. Meanwhile, Bleak is getting a visit from Clarke, who suggests that he fires Giant as his manager.
Now hold up. Let's talk about the money.
Shadow wants to start his own band.
Love.
Shadow doesn't really like the music that Bleak writes. It's kind of hard to blame him in a way. Giant notices that Clarke appears inside the club, and at the same time, Indigo walks through the door. So he notifies Bleak, who handles the situation sort of not in a good way, in my opinion. The girls are both wearing the same dress, which I'm not really sure if it's a coincidence or not. It seems like Bleak must have bought it. At the same time, they are obviously aware of each other, so Shadow goes over and courts Clarke, which is kind of a good idea in his opinion, but Bleak takes that personal. He starts having trouble with his ladies.
Have another woman.
Wait, look.
I ain't going for this shit.
Hey, what is your name?
Get off, Bleak.
That stemmed from him getting their names mixed up. The next day, he and Giant go for a bike ride where Bleak insists that Giant do a better job. On his way home, Giant ends up getting in trouble by the henchman of the bookie, Samuel L. Jackson, and that dude from King of New York. Afterwards, you see Spike Lee at the club begging the bandmates for money.
If you played the shit that they like, then people will come. Simple as that. Like me, that's what I'm gonna do.
After that concert, Giant is waiting outside of the club. He tells Bleak that he needs a place to stay and also tells Bleak about his gambling debt. Bleak actually fires him as his manager. Bleak misses both of his girlfriends and actually leaves a message for each. Clarke has moved on and formed a new relationship with Shadow. How he found out was because of Giant. Unfortunately, that led to a bad fight where Bleak actually fires Shadow. At this point, he's lost his manager, he's lost his two girlfriends, and now he's about to lose something else. While Giant is taking a massive beating outside at the hands of Samuel L. Jackson, Bleak finishes the concert and goes and checks on his friend. He just can't stand to see him down there like that, and he ends up getting jumped, but that's not even the killing part. Not Bleak's precious lips, that's how he makes his living. He's in the hospital now and he's visited by his dad. You can tell by this that his mouth is definitely different. He's unable to perform anymore and he becomes sort of like a recluse, like a hermit. Basically, he's thinking about Indigo by this point, and he realizes that if he's unable to play, the only thing that he would love is love. Love, which is what that song was about. He feels strongly about that. A year later, Shadow has his own band now, just like he said, the Shadow Henderson Quartet featuring Clarke Betancourt. Clarke was always able to sing, but it seems that Bleak never would let her sing on any of his records. Harlem Blues was a great song.
And if he's from Harlem, there's no use of even trying.
Bleak walks into the club and he looks to be in awe of Clarke's performance. She is truly a great singer. I'm not even thinking that he had ever heard her to begin with. Shadow, who took the time to actually help her pursue her career, is now leading a successful band. Bleak still has scars on his lips and is unable to play well. In turn, he leaves.
You playing dead! You playing dead!
Giant, who was reunited with Bleak because he was the doorman of the club of which he just walked into. Bleak ends up going over to Indigo's house, who is very angry over the fact that he hadn't responded to her for the entire year.
You want me to save your life?
Yes.
That's what you're asking
I want
me.
you to save my life.
Stop it, please.
She tries to reject Bleak, but they end up getting back together anyway. After this, one of my favorite scenes occurs where it's basically like a montage of the later years of Bleak's life. She ends up getting pregnant, and we also flash through their marriage and of her having the child. We can see that everybody is at the wedding. Giant, Shadow, even Clarke was there, Robin Harris. Fast forward to the hospital, she's giving birth, and also we see that the child even got to spend time with his grandfather. We see the opening scene play out again when Bleak and his son are practicing on a trumpet, but except for the beginning, he ends up letting his son go out to play, whereas he had to stay in the house and keep practicing.
I said I'll see you later.
Thank you for joining me, everyone, for Mo Better Blues. Please remember to subscribe so that you can be notified of the next video.